have a story, you want a reading, you want me to help you with your life, you have a health problem that you can't put your finger on, and you're like, why is my shoulder constantly in problem? And you want me to read it and you want me to get into it. I'm not that medical expert, but I can tell you where the emotion is attached to it. I think you'll be surprised at how powerful that is. So I would love to hear from you. Go to lisawilliams.com/podcast-guest and we will get you on the show. Hi everyone. Before we begin, I want to let you know that this podcast is for informational and inspirational purposes only. The advice and insights shared here are based on my personal experiences and expertise, but they are not a substitute for professional, medical, psychological, or business advice. If you are dealing with a specific issue, please consult a qualified expert. And thanks for watching. Welcome to Hope, Healing and Transformation. I'm Lisa Williams, and today we're talking about something that often gets overlooked as we think about our own healing, and that is joy. You know, when we go through grief or loss or any emotional pain, that joy can feel so different. When we go through grief, loss, or emotional pain, joy can feel so distant, even sometimes impossible. But here's the truth. Joy isn't just a luxury. It's sometimes a lifeline. And sometimes the best medicine for a heavy heart is a little bit of play. So I want to remind you in everything you do, in every episode, that you are the most important person in your life. And your healing, your happiness is all that matters. And joy is part of that journey. Now, there was a time in my life, in my relationship with my husband, Chris, that I absolutely had no idea that my relationship was ever going to survive. We were in a very, very difficult place. You know, we were lost in the chaos of the pandemic. We were lost in our own emotional space. I was truly exhausted mentally, emotionally, and spiritually trying to carry my community through the pandemic, and our relationship had hit a breaking point. And I honestly did not know what was going on. And truly, he didn't. You know, he was watching my daily lives, wondering what my state of mind was, wondering if he was coming home to me, my bags packed. And I remember sitting there thinking, is this how Chris and I break up? Because in my marriage vows, I said, not until death do us part, but I said, as long as it was meant to be. And I wondered if this was it. And Chris said, hey, come on, let's go for a ride. We both ride bikes, motorcycles, and I hadn't got my bike up there. I didn't want to go out. I was just exhausted. And intuitively, you know, I said yes. And you know, I didn't want to. Every part of me was going, no, no, no. But intuitively, I needed to. And obviously, my intuition is coming up now because, you know, my nose is itchy. It's kind of bringing me back. But I got on that bike and we got into the open air. And I started running through, thoughts are racing through my mind. And it felt so overwhelming, so much tension, so much, you know, everything. And I was really afraid of losing control of my whole being, my whole relationship. And something happened. And it was the most smallest thing. And I can remember it. And I've even got a picture of it. In fact, maybe I'll even put it up. But he reached down on my leg as he was riding, and he squeezed my leg and he rubbed my shin, my left shin. And he gave it this gentle squeeze. And in that moment, it was it. I took a breath. I felt safe. I was held. I felt like I was being looked after and that I was important in his life. And that I didn't need to be in control of everything. And it was in that moment that I let go. I leaned into that ride as I would normally do, and something inside of me just shifted. I felt this peace. I felt joy. I felt this freedom. And it was in that moment, it didn't bring me all of this like, joy, the heavens opened and the angels sang. No, what it did is it brought me clarity. And it was in that moment that it taught me something, that letting go is really the first step of rediscovering joy. It was so powerful. And so today we're going to talk about why play is essential for your healing. We're going to look at the neuroscience behind joy, because we all know that Lisa Williams loves a little bit of brain science. We love that. And I'm going to walk you through a fun exercise to help you reconnect with that inner child of yours, the one that may have been a little bit quiet over these last however long. But we want to get you connected to that part of you. So let's look at why this joy is a critical part of us healing. So joy has this massive impact on the brain, okay? This beautiful part of us in our mind. It is so powerful. It controls everything. Our intuition is very much our body, our barometer, but the brain can keep us locked in our own self. And when we experience this joy, our brain releases these neurotransmitters, these chemicals, this dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. This is the body's natural way of these feel-good chemicals. It makes us feel alive. And these studies show that joyful activities reduce the stress hormones like cortisol, okay? And it improves our immune function and reducing inflammation in our body. So I always say to my clients, hey, what are you doing for joy? What is it that you're doing? Or let's find some joy in your life. Do you love to play games? Do you love to work with your friends, have a social circle? What brings you this dopamine, this oxytocin, this serotonin? What we do is it's what wakes us up. So here's the thing: if you're waking up sluggish, okay, you're waking up sluggish. We go to bed with melatonin. We wake up with serotonin. Okay, super easy. And it's that serotonin that wakes us up, and sometimes we feel this alive feeling. Now, some of us don't, okay, because I must admit, sometimes in the morning, I do not want to wake up. But if we're struggling every single day, maybe we're struggling to release that serotonin and we're not having those moments of joy, or we don't have something to look forward to in the day. And so what we need to do is we need to find things that we look forward to. So in this moment, finding joy, the energy of joy, is actually a spiritual experience. It raises our vibrational frequency. Now, let me explain what that is. Our vibrational frequency is our vibration. Have you ever sat around someone, you're like, God, I like you. God, I want to be around you. Wow, you're an anchor. Wow, you give me comfort. Wow, you give me whatever it is. And it's in that what you're doing is that person has got a frequency of vibration and energy that they are magnetizing you to them. And what that is that feel-good factor. You know, their energy is expansive. There might be high energy, or they might just have an English accent that's really cute, or they may just have that quality that makes you feel safe. And what it is that space, that spiritual perspective, this joyous, this frequency of energy actually makes it easier for us to connect to our intuition, our spirit guides, our higher self. This is so key. And so what we want to do is we want to raise our energy. And I'm going to show you all of these things. I'm going to show you how to raise your energy to meet joy, to be joy, even when you don't feel like joy. Because trust me, I don't feel like joy all the time, but I am joy. Okay, I was just talking to my producer before we started the show, and we were saying, do you think joy is a long state? And I'm like, no, I don't think it is. You know, because there are we experience joy in moments. You know, it's like when we look at something, should I keep that? Does it bring me joy? Well, I like looking at it, but does it bring me joy? It's an interesting thing. My children bring me joy, but there's moments of joy, and then sometimes, you know, just like every child, they irritate you, and then they bring me moments of joy again, and then there's moments of irritation, then there's moments of joy again. So I feel as though sometimes there's momentary things. We can't always stay in this high vibrational aspect, because what happens is when we experience this high vibration of joy, then that becomes our norm, and then we're going to try to struggle to find joy again. Well, it's never really a joy, but what we're doing is we're going to find joy, because there's going to be moments where we're like, and then we bring ourselves back. It's like this pivot, this shift of perspective that we have to do. And now, really understand that joy doesn't erase pain. Let me repeat that. Joy is not erasing the pain. It's not erasing the reality. It's not erasing that circumstance that's giving us this pain, this upset, this heartache. But what it does is it gives us a moment for the soul and ourself to go, to breathe. That's what we need. For our nervous system to calm down. We need that for us to find that breath, for our amygdala to calm down, for our hippocampus to find a new memory to then turn from a short-term to a long-term memory that we can hold on to for when we need moments of joy. And so let's talk about why we lose our sense of play. Because I don't know about you, but growing up sucks. You know, I look at it and I look at myself. We're often told, grow up. You know, I remember my ex-husband saying to Charlie, come on, grow up, be a man. It used to annoy me because he's a boy. Let him be a boy. You know, I hear it all the time where kids they've lost that sense of play. They've lost that sense. They're taught to grow up really quickly. Well, we can't do that. They need that conditioning to be a child, because that is what helps them grow up and be these successful adults, because they're not going to lose that sense of play. When we lose that sense of play and try to prioritize productivity, entrepreneurship, business, writing a book, doing a show, becoming a parent, doing, and we're prioritizing all of this productivity over our play, it actually is really hard and it doesn't do us any good. You know, this research suggests that adults who engage in regular play activities report higher levels of creativity, resilience, and overall well-being. You know, one of the greatest people, and I've had the privilege to sit with, is a guy who has been a client of mine for many years. And he is this high successful business owner. And he owns multiple businesses in Australia. And we used to go to work at 10 o'clock and would always be home by 4 o'clock. And I'm looking at him going, how can you run this multi-million-dollar enterprise or enterprises in this short period of time? He would come home, he would lie in the sun, he would walk his dogs, he would cook his wife dinner, he would have fun, he would laugh, he would play his guitar, he would do all of these things, and he would have joy. And before he went to work, he would meditate, he would be happy, he would do all of the things that he needed to do. Again, it brought him joy. And then he'd come home and all of these ideas were like, bing, 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 bing. And I'm like, what is going on? And it's really because he allowed this joy to be paramount in his life. It was so powerful. And it changes everything. And so as we grow up, we forget this joy. You know, we have this fear of judgment. Okay, I don't know about you, but I've got this singing teacher, and I was chatting with her yesterday, and I was talking about this fear of judgment, me hitting a wrong note, me being able to utilize my voice, and I was being judged. And you know, I work very closely with Barry Goldstein, who I'm going to have on the show. He's a remarkable, incredibly talented musician, Grammy award winning, and we have a company together, Vasa. And I'll go in the studio to do these voice and sound activations, which is what Vasa stands for. And he's like, Lisa, follow through with that idea. But because of my fear, I fear playing with my voice, that it's not good enough. And he's like, oh, you almost said it. And I saw me not hitting a note as wrong. And I was fearing judgment. But you know what she said to me? Emily said to me yesterday, she's like, Lisa, he wouldn't keep coming back time and time and time and time and time again to work with you if he didn't believe in you. And I went, God, you're so good. And I'd forgotten this play. Play with your voice. Go and sit at the piano, Lisa. Go and play. Because we have this fear of judgment. You know, I avoid these playful activities because of that. I'm sure everyone does. Because fear of looking silly or unprofessional, or that we're not good enough. And really, this emotional part of us, we shut down. You know, we do shut down. And it's because we have been told when we were children that we are not good enough, that we can't do it. And no. You know, my music teacher, I'm going to talk about this. My music teacher, when I was at high school, I was the first person that spoke out about a sexual harassment. And I never forget it. It was very inappropriate. And I remember being pulled in. I was the only person taking A level, which is a higher form of music, a higher form of like study in school. And my music teacher, who's probably passed on now, was being very inappropriate with me. And there was part of me, he was leaning over me playing the piano. And if you haven't noticed, I have my girls are quite prominent here. And you know, obviously being a 16-year-old, the girls had been developed, but it was a very inappropriate behavior, him blowing kisses at me and you know, patting my butt. And back in the 80s, early 90s, you know, these things were just a little bit, I don't know whether they weren't acceptable, but no one really spoke out about it. And it was a really big thing for me. And so music being my life, you know, I was playing the piano and he was like really encouraging me to sing. And then when I remember my headmaster calling me in, Mr. Richardson, who has passed away now, greatest guy ever. He said, I need to talk to you, Lisa. There's been talk that this music teacher has been doing this. And I agree. I actually spoke up. And it was an awful situation. It was horrible. You know, it was very awkward because I was the only person doing that lesson. And, you know, and he knew he was in the wrong. And then the words came out. I was having to do this composition and he said, I don't think you should sing that. I'm not sure. You can't sing. Your voice isn't good enough. And I was heartbroken. It was absolutely heartbroken. And in that moment, I said, I'm not going to sing again. And I shut down. And that trauma prolonged it. There was a huge amount of stress and it caused me issues. And then I went on to be a Butlins Redcoat. Oh my God, that was hilarious. If you know what Butlins Redcoat is, it's like being an entertainer on a cruise. And again, I was being somewhat bullied. And I was told that I couldn't sing and that I shouldn't, you know, I was there. And, you know, whatever. I was young. I was in my early 20s. And I lost that joy. And so now my reaction from, you know, working with my singing teacher and working with Barry, who they're only my cheerleaders, you know, my panic, I'm not good enough is still there because it's that trauma. It's that prolonged stress that can cause us and cause our nervous system to stay in the survival mode. And it makes that joyous space, that joyous moment that we're having because we're singing, making it feel unsafe. It makes it feel unfamiliar. And joy, something that used to give me joy, is now stress. And so it is really crazy how we condition ourselves. So just remember, your trauma and prolonged stress can cause your nervous system to stay in that survival space, you know, causing that happiness, that joy, that feeling of like, you know, feel weird, feel like it's unsafe, feel like it's not good. So I want you to remember that play isn't irresponsible. It's actually really essential for our emotional balance. Now, I told you this whole story about me being at high school, you know, but really it wasn't where I was going with this. And I shared at the beginning of the episode about Chris and I. And one of the things that you'll learn about me is I ride a motorcycle. I have the Cadillac of motorcycles, okay? If any one of you are bikers out there, I have an Indian bike, okay? I love my bike. I used to ride sports bike, crotch rockets. This body is not conducive now to a crotch rocket anymore. So I am now riding the luxury, the Cadillac of bikes. I ride Sheila. Sheila is the name of my bike. She is this silver, beautiful three-wheeler Indian. I love her, okay? She's my badass beep bitch. I love her. Okay, and we go to a place called Sturgis every single year, and we have fun. And I'm going to tell you, my motorcycle has become my greatest thing. And we go away for Sturgis, and you have got all walks of life. You have got doctors, you have got attorneys, you have got surgeons, you have got, you know, bar owners, you have got people who are unemployed, you've got retired vets, you've got army people, you've got psychic mediums who go and they let their hair down for 10 days in this place. And that, just having fun, you know, my relationship was at that breaking point. This was at a point where I had just found out about some infidelity, and it was awful. I wasn't even sure if our relationship was going to last. And being on that bike with Chris, riding into where we were living at the time, riding into this village right on, you know, the water, Lake Ontario, watching the sunset, having that moment, laughing about something silly, brought me this moment of joy. And what it did is it reconnected us. I let go of what should happen in my relationship. I let go of what the norm or what people are expecting me to do. I let go of the circumstance. I let go of it all. And I started to realize what my relationship was built on. And it was built on laughter. It was built on communication. It was built on trust. It was built on love. It was built on friendship. And so I let go. And I realized that this man in front of me, for an act that had happened 3 years before, this man truly loved me and he cared about me, and he was doing everything that he could to just show up as him, to show me that he loved me and that I was important. And by bringing in that joy, by bringing in that moment, by me letting go of the shit that had happened, it released it. Did it take the pain away? God, no, it didn't. You know, that was months, if not probably a year of rebuilding our relationship. But that play and that surrender really was my powerful tool for actually healing our relationship. You know, I thought this joy was something I had to earn or I had to do, but I learned that it was right within us and that I had to make space for it. I had to let go of all of those little post-it notes of the questions that I was asking him every single day, which, trust me, he was answering. But I had to let go of it. And I had to start finding ways of joy. I had to start looking at these post-it notes and saying, how can I find joy today? What's going to make us laugh? We did silly things such as board games. You know, I wanted to learn something. And so I learned something. I would tell him, and he brought me joy by him just sitting and listening to my crazy thing that I was learning that day. He brought me joy by bringing me a bottle of wine and saying, hey, I bought you this because it's a Tuesday. Our joy came in getting in the car and putting the music on and driving hand in hand and me listening to him sing, because that brought me joy. My joy came in different ways. Now, some of you might be questioning here, and I might have triggered some of you who have had some form of infidelity in your relationship, or you can't get over it and you're like, how did you do that? Well, I go back to singing, because singing is what brings me joy. And there's a song, and I can't remember the title of it, but there's lyrics in there that says, music is my first love and it will be my last. And music, my grandfather, you know, really brought me joy with music. And one of my greatest joys was when he'd had his stroke and I called him up, and he couldn't sing, he couldn't talk at one point. But I called him up on my birthday, or he called me on my birthday, and he sang happy birthday. I cried. It was a moment of joy. And what got me over that time of that, I can't believe what Chris did, I can't believe this, I can't believe that, ching, 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 is my music. And what happened is every time I was thinking about it, you know how that stuff rents space in your head and you're like, I don't actually know if I'm ever going to get over it. When that sting comes again, you relive that moment, you've got that fear in your head, you're like, ee! And the pain comes back. What I did was I just sing a song. And it was one song that just kept going. I literally would sing this one line and it would just pivot me. And the one line, and it's by a song I Can Only Imagine. All right, it's the song I Can Only Imagine. I literally would just sing that one line, I Can Only Imagine. And then carry on with the verse or the chorus or wherever my brain would go. And every time I conditioned myself that every time that thought, that remembering the moment I'd found out, that feeling of being betrayed, that feeling of this, I literally sang I Can Only Imagine. And I trust me, my friends, there were times I was singing it through tears, standing in the shower, like not wondering how I was gonna get through that moment. And I sang. And my voice gave me joy because it was the only thing that I knew what to do. I went to something of joy. I went to something that I could. Now, your joy might be picking up, a crocheting needle and yarn. Your joy might be going out and riding a motorcycle. Your joy might be just looking at a picture on your phone that brings you joy of your kids. Your joy might be getting onto social media and seeing pit bulls wrapping themselves up in fluffy blankets, because that's my joy. But there are times that you need to pivot out of that pain, and your body needs a break. If my story can help you, I want you to find that joy, because that is the part that we struggle with. And I'm going to tell you, I am in the most healthiest, amazing, loving, trusting, significant relationship with still that man, because we have found a new sense of joy. We have found a new sense of commitment. We have found that sense of purpose of being together. But that was because I let go of the pain and I found joy. In a motorcycle ride, in singing a song, and then joining him on something that he loves to do. He loves to ride his motorcycle. Listen, he loves the snowmobile. I don't want a snowmobile because trees jump out at me and they go boo and I go crash. And so, snowmobiles don't, and Lisa Williams don't quite work. All right. But me riding a bike does. And so when he says, I want to go and spend my birthdays every year going to Sturgis, I had apprehension. I'd heard about all of these like biker rallies and all weird stuff going on. I'm going to tell you, it was like the best 10 days of my life. Going around these bands. Did I ride very fast? No. Did he do so many less miles with me there? Yes, he did. Did he complain about it? He poked at me a few times. Did I stick my middle finger up at him a lot? Absolutely. Did I go, whatever? Yes, I did. But it was fun. Do I drink now? I've been sober for 2.5 years. I don't. So I don't, that's not my thing. Was there a time that I thought I was going to have to get him on the back of my bike and ride bitch? Absolutely. There was a couple of times I thought I was going to do that because he'd had a drink. But there were it was fun. We got him home another way, so don't worry, he was fine. Ubers are amazing. But we have fun. And so I'm going to encourage you to find that spark of fun. So let's think about that right now. So let's find this moment, the spark of fun, okay? Let's take a few minutes, just to reconnect with that part of us that loves to play. It's your inner child, okay? It's your inner space, that inner child, that part of you. So what I want you to do is, I want you to take a deep breath, all right? So just settle comfortably. Let's just take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Just imagine this warm, golden, glowing light surrounding you, and just take a moment to breathe. This could be the only time in your day that you take a breath, but let's just breathe and settle in. Settle into your bones, settle into that place, and just breathe. Now, I want you to connect to a playful memory. So I want you to think back to a moment in your childhood when you were completely lost in play. Maybe you were splashing in these puddles. Maybe you were, playing with your friends or dancing around the house. I want you to just feel into that moment. Feel into that moment and allow it to become alive in your memory, and bring it into your heart. Bring it into your body. I want you to really think back. And now as you breathe, I want you to imagine this joyful energy, this moment that was so happy, filling your every cell of your body, allowing your body to feel that laughter, feel that freedom, feel that lightness. I want you to just let go of adulthood, let go of adulting, even just for this moment, and just feel it. I want you to imagine the air that you're smelling, what you would eat, maybe who you were around. Allow that energy just to be absorbed by your being right now. Listen to the laughter, the giggle. Whatever you're doing, allow it to be absorbed into your body. And just breathe that in. Just secure it in. Just breathe in and just let go. And in this moment of you being an adult, in this moment of you being who you are sitting here right now, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Commit to this moment. I want you to commit to inviting more play into your life. I want you to commit to feeling this feeling of joy, this feeling of happiness, this feeling of just freedom. And give yourself permission to laugh. When things get tough, you're giving yourself permission to have a moment of respite. And I want you to commit to yourself that you are the most important person in your life. Committing to joy. And just breathe. There we go. Just allow the breath to bring you back. Remember that joy is essential. It's not an escape for life. All right, listen, we all have to live. Trust me, we have to live. We have taxes to pay. We have bills to pay. We have life to do. All right, we have to adult. But joy is part of what makes life worth living. And we have to really live. So I'm going to say to you, give yourself permission to do something silly, something crazy, something fun. My singing teacher, she said, blow some bubbles. And I always say to my students, get some chocolate milk and blow bubbles into that chocolate milk. One, it's actually really good for you because it helps your vocal cords. But two, it takes you back to being a child. Dance in the living room, put some music on, be silly. What's your favorite childhood movie? If anyone asks you why, just say, because I deserve it, and smile and carry on. You need this. You need it. Remember that. And remember that you are the most important person in your life. Your happiness matters. Your joy matters. So go out and play. Go out and have fun. Be silly with someone that you trust. So share these moments of joy with me. Put it on Instagram, put it on social media, TikTok, everywhere. Submit your stories and your questions for future episodes because I want to hear them. I want you to be part of this. You are going to give me joy. You're going to give other people joy. I want to help you. I want to really help you get to a place of joy in your life. So if you want to be on the episode, let us know. And next time, we're going to be talking about how we navigate life transitions and how to embrace the change and all of those transitions with grace and resilience. So I want to say thank you for joining me today. And remember that hope is not just a wish. It's a decision to believe in something better. And together, we're going to find that hope and we're going to make it a reality. So until next time, take a moment to play and remember to laugh. And remember, you are the most important person in your life. So come and share your joyful moments. Tag me on all the social media. Join our community. And if you have experienced a loss or feel stuck or need a spark of hope, I would love to have you on my show. For a personal reading, intuitive reading, help with your health, any guidance, any transformation that you need, come and join me. Go to lisawilliams.com/podcast-guest and let's walk your journey together. And if this episode made you smile, just leave a review, subscribe. It helps us all. It helps us reach the people who need this hope, healing, and transformation. And so come and join me on lisawilliams.com, all the social media outlets. We are here for you. Until then, I'll see you. Thank you so much for joining me today. And remember, the information shared on this podcast is meant to inspire and support you, but it's not a replacement for personalized advice from a qualified professional. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to tune in next time. Until then, take care and keep believing in something better.